welcome back to Voicemail. Today I am joined with Henry Fraser, author and artist. Thank you so much for joining me.
No, pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
So would you just like to introduce yourself to the viewers about what you do and kind of your job?
So I mean, I guess kind of the thing that defines me most, I guess, is my mouth art. I'm paralysed from top of the shoulders down, so I obviously can't use my arms, so I have to use kind of a mouth stick and a paintbrush to create my art. I'm also an author and a public speaker, but yeah, it's kind of a bit of a mixed bag, I guess, really.
Yeah. So you've written, if I'm correct, you've written 2 books now?
Yes. I was going to say, yeah, the second one was out last year. Oh, no, like 2 years ago now. Yeah, a while ago. So.
Yeah, it feels like a bit of a blur, doesn't it, because of lockdown and COVID?
Yeah, it's kind of, I keep forgetting that suddenly we're a couple of years down the line. It's kind of just gone.
With the books then, what made you want to kind of pursue that and write a book?
Well, I've never wanted to write one in my life. I was never really a writer. But I was just approached by someone who had kind of seen my story and seen a lot of kind of what I was doing, and he was an agent, and he had asked if I'd ever thought about writing one, and I just honestly said no because I hadn't. But I thought, why not give it a go? Why not kind of try and see what happens? There's no kind of harm in trying it, and it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But yeah, it was something that I never thought I was going to do or wanted to do, but 2 books down the line, here I am.
So obviously you've spoken about your story a lot, and do you want to just give us some background on that and on your accident, but please don't go into anything that you're not comfortable with?
Yes, I mean, for me it was started, kind of this whole journey I guess started in summer of 2009. I was on holiday with my mates after our AS exams, and just kind of glad to strip away, went to the Algarve, south of Portugal. And it was a day like any other day. It was boiling hot, middle of the summer down there is roasting. So I thought, I wanted to go cool off in the sea, as I had done the previous few days I was there. Different part of the beach this day, I guess kind of I dived a bit differently, but where I dived in, I kind of just went head first straight into a sandbank, and that was it. Everything from that one brief moment, that one kind of collision, everything completely changed. It was completely life-altering moment. I opened my eyes expecting to get up, go back to the beach, start playing with my mates and think about the night out. But I was there, just left floating, completely motionless in the water, unable to move a thing. 2 of my mates then kind of grabbed me, dragged me onto the beach. From there, I was then airlifted to hospital in Lisbon, where I then spent the next 2.5-3 weeks, because it turns out I dislocated my dislocated the 4th vertebrae in my neck, which subsequently dragged the spinal cord with it and caused the paralysis, severely crushing everything inside. And I'd come to surgeries to try and correct that and realign my neck. The first one didn't go right, and from that moment on I was ventilated, and second one they managed to realign it, so kind of my neck's all screwed and bolted and wired back together inside, which on x-rays makes for a pretty poor x-ray, let's be honest. And so then I was 2.5 weeks there. When I was just about well enough, I was flying back to England, where I spent a couple of weeks in intensive care, and then 5.5 months kind of through hospital to get out, go home and live the rest of my life.
Obviously that's an extraordinary amount to go through in what's relatively quite a quick time, because you obviously didn't know that was going to happen when you booked the holiday. Have you found it kind of hard adapting to that lifestyle?
No, I think I've adapted pretty quickly. I guess I kind of settled into a lot of routine in my life, which definitely helps. Kind of takes the pressure off, I guess, when you encounter something during the day, kind of in a better headspace to kind of deal with it. But I think I pretty quickly early on just kind of settled into it being this is my life now. This is kind of my everyday. This is something I can't change. I've just got to accept that. And key to it, allowed me to move on and adapt to, my life now and my situation. I don't ever kind of really think about being in a wheelchair because I live every day in a wheelchair. I live all these things. It's just part and parcel of my life. It's my normal.
Is it kind of, because I know it is for me and it's something that I put into a lot of my work, but is it kind of important for you to talk about that in kind of a positive way to kind of break stigmas around disability as well?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's something, we need to always keep talking about and keep telling people, just being disabled in many things, like warning signs and, car crash accidents, the worst thing you can do apart from dying is be disabled. And it's like, well, it's not. There's still so much to live for, so much to do, so much to be kind of grateful and happy for, that it shouldn't be seen as kind of the end of everything. You've got to kind of keep, telling people I'm not afraid of showing my disability. I'm not afraid of kind of worried about what people think about me in my wheelchair, because I don't care. It's my life. If they want to worry or have their own thoughts, that's on them. That's not got anything to do with me. Yeah,
no, for sure. And I mean, for anyone that hasn't read your books, I would highly recommend them because I think they're great. But obviously, as well as being an author, you are an incredible painter. What made you want to do that? Because I know you said in kind of previous interviews that you liked it when you were younger, but what was it about art that made you want to do it post-accident?
Well, something I just kind of fell back into because of my circumstances. I had a sore on my back, as consequence of spinal cord injuries and being in a chair a lot and all those things. It was I looked after my skin pretty well up until that point, but it was just a very cold winter. I wasn't very well, and something opened up on my back, so I was stuck in bed. And there's only kind of so much daytime TV you can watch in bed, so I started to find a drawing app on my iPad. And I can draw an iPad the same way I paint, with a mouse stick, but a stylus taped to the end, and I touch screen on my iPad, and that's it. So when I was able to sit up in bed, put a couple of cushions on my lap, iPad on top, in the stand, and then I just started drawing, and that was it. That's how it started and why it started. It was just kind of more of, I guess, a distraction at that point.
Do you find it kind of gives you like creative freedom to be able to do that?
Yeah. It's kind of, I've definitely over time, and I guess kind of alongside everything I've been through with my accident, been able to, I guess, try new things, explore different things with my art, subject matter, color, all those things, the style I was doing it in. And I think they've kind of gone hand in hand together. And it's definitely, the more I've done, the more confidence I got with it, the more I'm kind of willing to push myself and try more. And the faster I'm able to produce paintings, so I'm not so worried about the mark making. I'm able to enjoy the process much more rather than kind of be brushstroke by brushstroke going, is that perfect? Is that perfect? Is that perfect? And I do sometimes fall into that routine, especially when I get towards the end of the painting. But the process is, I think, more enjoyable now. It's not so much, I'm not really thinking about it so much. I'm just freer.
How do you kind of go about picking what you want to paint? Do you have a process, or do you just kind of go for it and see what happens?
It's more just if I'm on the internet or watching something on TV and I see something I just like, that I think looks cool. Whether it's an animal, a person, a landscape, a skyscape, all these things. If I just see it, then I'll go on my iPad later and I'll just scroll through image after image online and just have a look around and see if I think I can make it work. And then sometimes I'll draw on my iPad before I paint. I'll kind of put some ideas down. So it can sometimes fall into quite a long process, but I enjoy that part of it. I enjoy the process. I've always enjoyed the process of anything really, whether it's sports training or, I love watching people paint from the start, from beginning to end, because everyone does it differently. No one does it the same way. I find that fascinating. So yeah, I enjoy the process. I enjoy that side of it. And, if I find something I think works, it works. And I've got stuff that's images I've sat on my iPad for months or years even, that I've kind of thought would look cool, but I'm just unsure as to how to approach it or what to do with it. And I just keep them because I think, maybe one day it might, some idea might have some kind of light bulb moment where I suddenly think, oh, this is great. I know what to do with it now. I'm going to go for it.
Is there anything that you kind of use in terms of like assistive stuff to help you paint because of your disability, or?
I've got, excuse me, load of mouth sticks I have. They're actually something my dad found on the Christopher Reeve Foundation website back when I was in hospital. So yeah, I just use that, and then I've just found ones that actually were designed for painting. They've got a little clamp on the end that you put a frame brush in or a pencil in or whatever. And I've got an easel that was given to me by a company called Lecky, based in Ireland. And they're fantastic. And this easel is, it just makes things easy. It's got a little tray underneath, so obviously you can't hold the palette, so I put my paints and palettes on that tray and the water and things. And that's it, just below the actual easel itself. So those two things kind of add up together. And of course, my wheelchair allows me to get into the easel and paint and do all those things anyway. So yes, so a few bits together.
Is there anything you would say to maybe a disabled person watching this that wants to give painting a go but isn't kind of sure where to start?
I'd say, research the equipment, have a look around, and if you try something, this is the one I use now. It's my second easel that I use. I had another one that's kind of big wooden one, very kindly made for me by friends of ours, and that I can only really use for drawing, not painting. And the thing is again to just have patience with, because you'll find a way that works best for you. The way I paint probably won't work for many people. And when I look online at other mouth artists, they will do it very differently. To me, they do it differently to each other. And over time, we just kind of settle into what's most comfortable and what's easiest for you. But I think just go out there, give it a try, find whatever equipment you can and just go for it. And if you enjoy it, fantastic, continue with it.
Is this kind of something that you imagine that you'll do kind of for the rest of your working life? Is this kind of the career that you want to stick to, or?
I guess so. I don't really, now I don't really think too far in the future. I don't really think about what's coming up, what's happening. Tend to live very much in the here and now and in enjoying what I'm doing right now. And I think I enjoy it so much now that I guess it will be with me forever. Whether it is my career forever, I don't know, but I think I'll always paint. I'll always try to paint. I'll always want to, I guess, try and do something creative.
And I know as well, you do motivational speaking. Is that something that's important to you as well?
Yeah, that's it's huge for me, public speaking and going out there, because I spend a lot of time at my easel, a lot of time in my own world, no one around me, just kind of a couple of hours at my easel. And so that's so going out and then being in front of a room full of people is, the complete opposite of that. That's me sitting there in front of, 50, 100 people, whatever, opening and sharing a story that's very personal to me. And, I enjoy that because it means that I'm kind of then pushed out my comfort zone to do things and interact and, be away from my comfort zone, which, is very easy to fall into. And it's important everyone has one. Everyone needs a comfort zone. Everyone needs a place where they can feel happy and not have to worry. And everyone says that, you need to always be out of comfort zone. Don't believe it. It's rubbish. Every now and then stepping out of it is good. I think we all need that. It's a nice challenge. It's a nice way to keep us on our toes in life, I guess. And for me, public speaking is something that I always hated. It scared me more than anything in the world. I'd always try and get out of it wherever I could. I hated being in front of people. I hated people staring at me. I hated being centre of attention. That wasn't me at all. I always very much enjoyed my own time, my own space. And, when I was asked to do it, I kind of agreed to it, and we kind of planned 6 months down the line. That was when I was going to give my first talk. And, I agreed to it. So I thought, something's going to happen. I won't have to do it. Something will pop up. Great. I'm not going to have to think about it ever again in my life. And then, 6 months down the line, the day arrived or the week before, and I still remember that week. I probably wasn't a particularly great person to be around. It's probably a bit kind of short with people, a bit, on edge, I think. Because I was trying to remember a half-hour talk kind of off the top of my head, which I didn't need to. It's just something that I just felt like I kind of had to do. I was obsessed with it. But the moment I finished that talk, this kind of wave, this relief, this kind of adrenaline that I hadn't felt before suddenly was there. And I was suddenly, thought, why haven't I done this before? Why didn't I do this? I kind of missed out on all these things. And the more I've done, the more talks I've done, the more confident I get, the better I am at talking to people. And being in front of people is actually as well sharing my stories, that's given me more confidence in my life in general anyways. I'm much better at interacting with people, talking with people. I'm far more kind of sociable, I guess, than I ever was. And that only came true because of the public speaking and because of my accent. I wouldn't have this confidence I have now if I hadn't have had my accent.
I mean, with that being said, if there's anyone watching this that's kind of maybe in a similar situation that you were and they're kind of really struggling with their confidence, is there anything like advice that you would give them for that?
Yeah, I don't know, because confidence-wise, before my accident, I was all over the shop. I was a very anxious person. I had a lot of anxiety, pretty much in anything I did. The person I am now and the person I was before are very, very different people. And I think the key for me was just to try things, just go for it, but always go into a situation. I always went into every situation, always think about, what if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? I'm gonna look stupid if this happens, or God, I'm gonna let this person down, or whatever. But it was about just going into all situations, thinking about the positive outcome, about if it goes wrong, it doesn't matter. Like, who cares if it goes wrong? Like, why do we get this in our heads? And again, it takes time, it takes patience, but you kind of just have to keep telling yourself these things in your head over and over again until they just become kind of a formality in your life. When you go into a situation, you kind of automatically click and switch into that mindset. But you need patience, but having that patience and having that time and, allowing yourself to try new things and not worry is huge and is worth the effort, is worth the time, because come the other end of it, you kind of don't know kind of what you can achieve or what kind of something new and spectacular you'll find in yourself.
So with that being said, I know you said kind of after your accident, I mean, every time I've kind of seen you after your accident, you've always said about how much that actually it's kind of shaped you as a person, and like you said there, it's built your confidence. So is it kind of, would you say that actually disability isn't a bad thing and that we shouldn't be worried about it too much?
No, not at all. I really don't. I mean, with the right systems in place, with everything in place, our lives would be as easy as everyone else's. I don't see a reason why they wouldn't be. Everyone in the entire world lives their lives differently from each other. Everyone has a different morning routine. Everyone does something different. We all, our difference is that we're disabled. I use a wheelchair every day. We do things differently from everyone else. But so what? They do different things from each other anyways. It's just something a bit visual. Everyone dresses differently. I just don't get it. I just don't see. We shouldn't kind of have that burden put upon us. I mean, I don't think it's fair or right that it is. I just think that being my disability has given me, more than I could ever have dreamed of, a better life than I ever thought I'd have. And I just wish that everyone was able to kind of have those opportunities, or to be able to access that within themselves and not be held back by a disability or or what they perceive others might think of them. You know, I just hope things change, and things are changing, but you know, they could still change a lot more and a lot faster.
You know what? I'm gonna wrap it up now, but I'm gonna ask you a very tough question, and it's fine if you don't have the answer. But do you have a favourite painting that you've done?
See, that is one that always pops up. But there are parts of paintings that I've done that I think are the best thing I've painted. The one painting as a whole that I'd say, and it's one I always forget about actually when people ask me, it's about some friends over the weekend who actually asked me as well. And for me, it's the wave I did. And I don't know what it is about it. I don't know why I love it. I remember I did, because the reason why I wanted to do it was because when I was 8 years old in primary school, in art class, I painted a replica of Hokusai's painting The Wave. And that was the best thing I painted in my kind of, I guess, able-bodied life. And I wanted to kind of take that challenge on and do my, you know, this post-accent painting. And my idea was to recreate that. But the moment I sat down and painted it, I just ignored it and did something completely else, completely different. And I just kind of let myself go and paint it and just not think about anything else. And kind of be a bit abstract with it, be a bit freer, just enjoy it. And I really did enjoy it. I think it's the most fun I've had painting something. The time that I really wasn't thinking about painting, I was just there. And I painted it in a day. I painted it in, I don't know, 3-4 hours or something, from start to finish. And by the end of it, and I remember the final brush stroke that I just dropped the brush out of my mouth, and I was just happy with it. I wasn't thinking, oh, I could change that or this. It was just, yeah, something about that one is just, it's there for me.
So if people want to find your work, where can they go?
My social media, Twitter and Instagram, are both Henry Fraser 0, or my website, henryfraserart.com.
Perfect. Well, it's been amazing to talk to you, and thank you so much for giving us your time today.
No, pleasure talking to you. Yeah, thanks again for having me on.